Tophiachu has betrayed everyone. After gaining a massive amount of sympathy in the wake of the tragic carjacking that her and her family were involved in, she would make almost every wrong decision possible, turning nearly every last one of those people once sympathetic into people who are now more critical than ever. Most of said criticism revolving around Tophia's poor financial decisions in such a crucial time of her life. Her mother is still recovering, and her brother is yet to be buried. But as you'll see in this video, Tophia has been spotted numerous times shopping, and even once at the casino gambling. Buckle up, because these last 4 months from Tophia have been peak hypocrisy. It all began in April, and Tophia had still not yet received the GoFundMe money, but had also seemingly burnt through the majority of money sent to her in the wake of the carjacking, so she would begin to post more, of course, asking her audience for money.
I'm trying to wait for the GoFundMe money to be processed so we can pay for my brother to be buried. On top of that, whatever money is left over, we're not going to get all of that money right away. I don't know what people think, right? I'm going to need a lot of money to move. I'm going to need a lot of money to have my storage moved. I'm going to need money for last month's rent, deposit, whatever it is that I need, especially when it comes to application fees, background checks, all of that stuff. I am going to need money for that. On top of that, I can't afford nothing. I can't even come online and be like, hey, do people want to send cash apps? The cash apps, the money that people sent to my PayPal went to pay my bills. Shocker. You know why? Because I still owe a storage. I still owe a phone bill. All of it is gone.
You'll hear Tophia talk a lot about how she needs money, but very little about how she is seeking employment, because in this time she had no intention of doing so, expecting that GoFundMe money to come in and fix all of her problems. But people had started refunding their money, losing faith in Toph's ability to properly spend it because of her being frequently spotted at shopping malls, spending money on luxury items like boba tea. Tophia didn't take very kindly to all of this criticism, and always had a million excuses for why she was there doing what she was, but this was only the beginning of her being spotted in these places, and it wasn't necessarily the hottest topic of discussion, because people were far more interested in what was happening with Brother Chu. After doing some digging, people on the internet figured out that Donald Jr. had already been cremated. That, along with a small ceremony, were held at the expense of the state, so many people were asking what the point of the GoFundMe even was anymore. Albuquerque had paid for him to be cremated, so why was Toph attempting to get thousands of dollars for the pretense of her brother's funeral? Well, her explanation received mixed responses.
Oh, and let's clear up what the state paid, because I'm so sick and tired of people saying the state already paid. No, the state did not already pay. So I'm going to explain that to you because it's literally pissing me off. So let's get this out of the way. Cremated people can be buried. My grandmother and grandfather are buried, and they're cremated. So for people saying that you can't bury cremated people, yes, you can. You can also have them entombed. I didn't want him entombed. I wanted him buried, with his urn. Because if we have his urn, it runs a risk or a chance of people trying to steal him. So yes, he can be buried. He will have a plot. He will have everything. So the state only paid up to $6,000 because they paid for the service, they paid for the casket, they paid for the urn, and they paid for the cremation. I already said that. That's up to $6,000. So everything went up to $6,000, and what was left over went to cremate him. So after the $6,000, we have no money for him to be buried.
Tophia claims that the money from the GoFundMe will be spent to bury Brother Chu's ashes. Tophia would also reveal in these videos that her family was mad that she continued posting to social media. This would be the very beginning of a long-running feud with her uncle, one that ends up getting very messy for Tophia, but we'll get to that shortly. During the month of April, Toph did post more than the month before. My theory is that as the months went on and Toph ran out of money, she had to stream more and had to make more content, further showing her desire to not work. The month of May would start off with a bang, because Tophia was spotted multiple times in public with more Ross bags. This is a semi-popular clothing store in the US, one that Toph has been seen visiting numerous times. This would also be the beginning of Tophia's thirst trapping era, increasingly making videos like the one on screen right now. During this time, Tophia would also say that she's been hustling, doing everything that she can to secure her and her mama housing. She also speculated that the carjacker might have been a hitman sent by the internet, claiming that the case was still ongoing. She would also talk about how she was owed the GoFundMe money, and that she could use it for damn near anything she pleased. The description clearly states that it's not only for her brother's funeral, but also their living expenses. And trust me, you haven't seen anything yet when it comes to reckless purchases from Toph. But I want to take a minute to cover someone who we also haven't in quite some time, and that's Papachu. Because around the middle of May, body cam footage would be released of Papachu finding out what had happened to his son, and some of his responses show just how far gone he is.
He doesn't know, right?
Why do you keep bringing up my dad's son?
His son was 27 to 1 like 3 hours ago.
What?
So,
My son what?
he doesn't know.
I don't say, oh, because if anything misfortune happened to him, I'm bringing him back.
His son was
Hey, how does it feel what I'm doing to you right now?
Papachu has quite literally developed a god complex, referring to himself as Ezekiel Mordecai Fusario, claiming to have godly powers, which he usually uses to threaten the police officers. I've also seen Papachu with necklaces made out of random car parts. I think this one on screen is a piece of a brake, so I doubt that he fully grasps what's gone on. He even said in that video that if something happened to his son, he'll just bring him back. It's pretty sad stuff. He has basically been abandoned by Tophia and Mamachu, living on the streets, being arrested once every couple months. You'll even see him get arrested later in this video. But Tophia had far bigger problems to focus on. She was living out of a shelter, and rumors were beginning to swirl that it was a 90-day situation. Tophia had 90 days at the shelter to find gainful employment and move out. But she had intentions of doing neither, pretty much banking on the GoFundMe coming through. Instead of deciding to apply for jobs, Tophia decided to dye her hair and get her nails done. Tophia decided to dye parts of her hair blonde, and she's been rocking this look ever since. That, along with these two dangly locks, have created a pretty iconic hairstyle. And with this hairstyle came a whole new wave of attitude, taking out a lot of her frustrations on content creators that covered her antics, especially my good friend Smokey MCC. I don't know why, but just recently she's been talking about him a lot.
Anyways, Smokey is stupid as fuck. I'm gonna say that. If you want to believe whatever comes out of that bastard's mouth, I really don't give a fuck. And I'm gonna say it. I don't give a fuck about people that don't even have hardcore receipts. If you can show hardcore receipts that I took money out of GoFundMe without showing a video of me just going shopping, then shut the fuck up, because a video of me going shopping does not say that I took money from GoFundMe. Like, duh. You know how much people sent money to my freaking PayPal and my Cash App?
Little bit of a shameless plug, but me and Smokey have a podcast that we do right here every Wednesday at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we talk about Toph's antics a lot, along with many other people that I've covered on this channel. If you want weekly updates on Toph, it's a great place to be. But we still have so much more to discuss when it comes to that particular live stream of Tophia's, because after she got done with her rant about Smokey, someone would walk up to her and low-key confront her on the GoFundMe, telling her that Donald had already been cremated by the state, so she didn't see a reason that the GoFundMe money was still needed. It's kind of surreal to see Tophia get called out on this stuff in real life.
What? Yeah, they did a GoFundMe for my brother. That's why I'm here. They only helped up to like 6,000. Yeah, we were sleeping in our car and this guy jacked our car. And
were you sleeping at a park?
Yeah.
That was right by my house.
Yeah, that was us. Yeah, for my brother, the burial is 4,120 on top of like 6,000, because that's for I don't know if it includes everything, she said, including the headstone where we're having him buried. So yeah.
Help me with that, but it was 4 years ago.
Yeah, but we're still waiting for the GoFundMe to be processed because people said I was scamming. My family gave me money after my brother's service and I went and got stuff. And I guess someone filmed me and said I was using the GoFundMe money. I don't have access to it. My brother's friend does. And so GoFundMe is, I don't know if they're looking into it. They're still looking into it. We sent them information, but it's not being processed. My brother's friend is contacting them. Well, that's what she told me is that to make a GoFundMe, she was hired from the mayor. She was hired by the mayor.
It's interesting to see how Tophia reacts differently to criticism in real life. Online, she makes a lot of threats and false statements, but when it's in person, she's just giving all these excuses. The revelation of Brother Chu's funeral plans were very controversial, but eclipsed by something far bigger that was happening, and that is the aforementioned uncle drama. Before Tophia talks about her uncle in an extremely negative way, I want to describe to you exactly what the uncle offered. It would be revealed that he had offered for Tophia and Marie to come and stay with him, solving the housing problem that Tophiachu had been talking about for years. And the uncle only had one condition, that Tophia stay off of social media. Of course, she refused, and each party began to shit-talk each other on social media. Her uncle called her a liar and a thief, but Tophia didn't have anything better to say about him.
You left me and my family homeless when I was in elementary school trying to tell me that, I was not old enough. How many times have you thrown me out of grandma's house? More than once. And tried to make excuses about my father? That's BS.
Yeah, I was thinking.
You know you took money from her bank account. And his son was driving by there and pulled up and literally told me, because he was talking to me, because, he was like, they were on his way somewhere, and told me that his own dad had a restraining order on him, that he was not allowed to go by his grandmother's house because his father put a restraining order on him. I'm like, and I literally told my grandma, I said, does he have a restraining order? Because he said his dad has a restraining order. He can't come around here. That's why he hasn't been around. She didn't even know. Because she would say like, the other grandchildren don't come to visit. Me and my brother were the only ones that came to visit, and we didn't have a car. And like, I told her about that, and I said, wow, he has a restraining order, he can't come around. And she didn't even know that. Considering that his own son said that he did steal money from her bank account. My father didn't steal nothing. My father didn't have access to her bank account. When my grandma pulled out money, she had access to her card. She never gave her card to my father. For them to say my father stole stuff, is so crazy.
Just so that you know, Donald Slidell is a freaking fake. He will not pay you. He uses everybody's information to collect and make himself richer. So if you ever have dealing with Slidell Financial, it's better to just say no. Thanks.
You're talking trash when it's not about my grandmother. Why are you bringing up my grandmother? Where were you? You wasn't even at the service, let alone you said you was trying to run around and find out what hospital she was at, but it was under investigation. Let's not lie. I wouldn't want you there, and my mom does not want to talk to you. I'm not stopping my mom from talking to her brother. My mom's choosing not to talk to her brother. They all are, including his other brothers, who advised me not to address him and to just let him run his mouth. I'm not going to be put in a situation where my brother has a job. Mind you, my brother was working at Jimmy John's, to then have to one day wake up and be told that to get out while he has a job, and then have to worry about leaving and finding a place for us to go sleep because he's working, and then being told to get out. What is wrong with people? Use your common sense. It was better to be where we was at, because then we have a place to go to. We could go to the library. We can go shower. We have places to go shower. Common sense. We have nowhere to go, and then have to walk 15 blocks?
So it seems that Tophia denied one of the most legitimate options she had to get a place to live, meaning surely she has a plan. Maybe she was finally in the process of finding a job.
I would love to clock into work. But I can't, because I have to sit here and watch my back all the time because someone's filming me. Someone literally filmed my mom at the hospital. People have no boundaries whatsoever when it comes to Reddit. And when I say please leave me alone, people don't. People are yelling out their car, which, to a certain extent.
It turns out that Tophia had no intention of finding employment, just like most people suspected, so going to her uncle's place was really the best option, and many people recommended it, but this is how she would respond.
I'm not going to my uncle's house. My uncle is an asshole. I don't want anything to do with him. He shouldn't come to the internet and act like if he's better than everyone. Oh, what uncle's house? That's not his house.
It's become blatantly obvious that Tophia is expecting to get the GoFundMe money and that it will solve everything. That she'll be able to bury her brother, find housing, securing Papachu and herself a new life. She also wants to use a portion of this money to sue people, specifically what she calls T channels and subreddits. She said that these people cannot clip her streams because of copyright, and that as soon as possible she will be finding legal representation. I for one am terrified. She lives in Albuquerque, home of the world's greatest lawyer. Needless to say, it's not looking good for T channels. June would begin with Tophiachu dry begging for her birthday, basically insinuating that she didn't have any money to do anything, and of course plugging her various donation websites. This would lead people to further suspect that she had run low on funds. This behavior, along with the increase in live streams, was evidence, but she was also still being seen around town shopping. Around the 4th, she was spotted again with what looks like more shopping bags, and only a week later, another picture would be taken of her at the mall, talking to some lady with an ankle bracelet. The photographer said that they had seen her at the mall quite often, and this of course led to even more criticism from the public about her reckless spending. Not only has Tophiachu been spotted on numerous shopping trips, but she also has new makeup and nails. All the while she was claiming to look for a more permanent place for her and Papachu, something that many highly doubted. The month of June was relatively uneventful for Tophia, but the same cannot be said for July. It all started with a lot of big emotions from Tophia. She was wanting to spend more time out with her friends, but the shelter that she was staying at had a strict 9 p.m. curfew, and it seemed like she was growing increasingly dissatisfied with her stay at the shelter.
That Freedom 4th thing, I don't know if you know, the 4th of July, the balloon fiesta, but Hunter Hayes is going to be there, and it's free, and I'm like, bro, but it's till 10, and I don't know if buses bring you back right away, or if they won't bring you back until 10, because there's buses that shuttle you there. They pick you up at the mall, but I have a curfew and I won't be able to be there. No, but the thing is I can't be out past 9. That's the issue. I don't need money for an Uber. It's just that the thing is I can't be past 9. I have a stupid curfew. If I had a place, I wouldn't mind, which I'm working on that. I'm working on a lot of things. People ain't gonna, I wanna have my restaurant, so I have plans, so.
She also has big plans, particularly starting a restaurant, something that I don't think I've ever heard Tophia talk about before. And without working a job, I have no idea how anything she's been talking about would even be possible. From getting a house to starting a restaurant, it all takes hard work. Tophia claims that she's been hustling, and that she simply doesn't have time for relationships, but I have no idea what she's been doing besides going to the mall, and making the occasional thirst trap. And the craziest thing about those is that they seemed to have worked, because we're going to briefly discuss a catfishing scandal that Tophia found herself in. I don't even know if calling it catfishing is the right word, because someone online had some pretty crazy conversations with Tophia, even sending her some images, and eventually this person would bring all of these screenshots to Reddit, proclaiming that they sure had got Toph good, viewing themselves as some kind kind of troll that would be beloved. But the screenshots were pretty clear. All this person did was have intimate conversations with Toph, ones that they actually seemed to enjoy. This person was ridiculed by most every viewer of Tophia's, along with her when she found out what he had released, causing him to basically disappear from the internet. Tophia would talk about him occasionally, but she was far more occupied with more important things, like collecting components of McDonald's Happy Meals, and of course, thirst trapping. Around the middle of July, Tophia started claiming that she was in contact with GoFundMe and that they were working on resolving the situation regarding the funds, blaming trolls for it taking so long, even claiming that someone stole Brother Chu's death certificate. It was a time of questions for the Tophiachu universe. Questions that apparently could not be answered at the local Sonic. Tophia had been filming a lot of her videos at this Sonic. For those who don't know, it's a popular drive-in restaurant in America, and apparently they had had enough of her nonsense. After receiving numerous calls from the trolls, they would ask Tophia to leave the premises one day, during a live stream of course.
Drop the hair routine. I use the curl enhancing smoothie, and then I use this mousse cream thing. I don't know what it was. I got it at TJ Maxx.
My friend, you gotta go.
Oh, that's because people called and harassed. They're calling and harassing.
Tophia said this was all because of the phone calls that Sonic was receiving, and I definitely could believe that. Her livestream chat is absolutely brutal, and she couldn't help but reply to some of the most negative ones. Tophia was mad at just about everyone. Brother Chu's ex, Angie, they've been going back and forth for months now, and of course, Smokey. That's right, a month later she is still talking about him, this time wishing the worst upon him, claiming that she wanted him to kick buckets.
I wonder if Smokey will kick the bucket. That's what I wonder. I wonder if Smokey will kick buckets. Do you think so? I said it. And what? What are you gonna do about it? Nothing. I'm so sick and tired of Smokey reporting on things because they got bills they gotta pay, they got a house, so they lie on people. Smokey MC needs to kick a bucket, okay? I'm not gonna be nice to people who literally shits on someone who lost their brother. I'm sorry, I cannot do it. If it was any other influencer that lost their brother and y'all respected them so much, you would be like, oh, why are you doing that to them? Like, leave them alone. That's so, they just lost their brother. But because it's me and you don't like me, you say, oh, that's totally fine.
During the stream, she was also very mad about people reporting her live, both for her comments about Smokey and some of the things that she said to chat, which, like I said, only caused her to rage more.
I say one thing, and my live stream gets reported for bullying and harassment. Oh, who am I bullying and harassing? Nobody. That's so crazy. I say one thing, and you whiny little bitches want to report for bullying and harassment. You can't handle the motherfucking heat that someone gives you. And when someone says something to you that you don't like, all of a sudden it's bullying. But it's not bullying when you dox me, when you follow me everywhere and then try to say, oh, we're not following you everywhere, but you document it in a freaking Reddit. And then you talk about my dead relatives. What if I said, go dig up your dead ass mother in the grave? Oh, you wouldn't like that now, would you? You need to go cough up her ashes because someone's smoking on her pack. Like, seriously, if I was to say stuff like that, oh, well, she did this to me, you know, she's bullying me, and shut up, you whiny little bitch.
It's not that people don't like what you're saying to them, Tophia. It's just that they are holding you to the standards that you hold everyone else. But the point she's trying to make is that it's the opposite. She's trying to hold the trolls to the standard they hold her, creating a vicious cycle, one that hasn't ended for years. The scenery may change, but Toph Toph never changes. I'd say the newest thing about her character lately has been the increased amount of looking for a partner, making posts calling herself touch deprived, constantly talking about how she doesn't have a boyfriend. That and raging are about all she's been doing. But in regards to Papachu, it's a far different story. Around the end of July, Papachu was arrested once again, this time for possession. He's been arrested for this many times before, and I can only assume that in a couple of weeks he'll be out once again, proclaiming himself God to anyone who will listen. The month of August started off pretty interesting. Tophia was once again videoed walking the streets of Albuquerque, I assume on the way to some sort of shopping facility because she didn't have heaps of bags with her.
We are there. I worked hard for this. I worked hard.
She also ramped up talk of the GoFundMe, saying that she thinks it might be refunded and that she can't get in contact with the creator. People have long since theorized that Tophia is the creator of the said GoFundMe, but I haven't seen any proof for this. But it seemed that Tophia had truly accepted that the GoFundMe was not going to go through. I think it should be said once more that Brother Chu was cremated and a service was held at the cost of the state, a fact that Tophia very rarely mentions when she is blaming people for her brother not being buried.
I didn't get paid from the GoFundMe. It's still, they're still trying to get a hold of the person who made the GoFundMe. If not, they're gonna give everyone's money back. So thanks, you guys. You really helped my brother get buried. I don't know how people could sit online and say they care about my brother more than me, but yet they prevented my brother from being buried and like lied. I don't have access to the GoFundMe, so I'm not spending the GoFundMe money. I don't understand why people said that I was scamming people just because my uncle wanted to be an a-hole and come online and say stuff. Like, his daughter literally said he's an a-hole.
Tophia acts like it is the people in her chat that have prevented the GoFundMe from going through, but in reality it's been all of the shady practices behind the scenes around this GoFundMe. Many different theories have been thrown out there. Like I said, nothing's been proven, but almost everyone can agree that something stinks about this GoFundMe. She also wants to act like she hasn't had months to find a job, something which she has claimed time and time again to not be capable of. Tophia is so stubborn that she won't even accept help from family, all because their only requirement is for her to not use social media, something that would very much be to her benefit. When her uncle, her mother's brother, offered the both of them a helping hand, Tophia may as well have spit in his face, talking all kinds of shit about him online.
He would come and yell at my mom every single day. Imagine having to live in a household when you're in elementary school, having someone come scream at your mother every single day. But hey, he is the way he is because my grandma never told him nothing. And my uncle is 100% right. She never told him not to do things. She never spoke up and said, hey, this is why she's not here, to be truthfully honest. He wanted to isolate everyone from her and be the only one. And what happened? He was the only one, but he didn't take care of my grandma very good because she's not living. But yet you want me to go to a hostile environment and live there just because you said so. He didn't offer us to stay there. He never offered us.
Toph will often recall situations where her or her family members are completely in the right, usually saying that people mistreated them for absolutely no reason. But from what I've been able to gather, it's just a case of a brother hating his sister's boyfriend. Ironically enough, Marie's brother is named Andrew, making him now the third Uncle Drew that we have covered at length on this channel. Well, Uncle Drew just didn't like the fact that Papachu was a well-known scammer who was possibly insane.
My dad was sick. He was sick with his bipolar. He wasn't taking his medication. It was a very unsafe environment for us because that was the time my parents were renting to own a house. They were renting to own a house. And so we had to flee our house. We had to sneak out, and my dad called us. My mom was like, oh, I'm taking them to the park. She wasn't taking us to the park. We were going to meet up with someone who was going to drive us to our grandmother's house. We went to the gas station. She called. They picked us up. They took us to our grandma's house. He was not on his medication. and it was not a safe environment for us. We were in elementary school. I remember we had cats at the time. One of the other cats stayed behind because we couldn't. Well, they both stayed behind. We had 2 cats at that time. Kittens. We got kittens. The neighbors' cats had kittens, and they didn't care until finally one day they decided to come over and be like, "Where's our kittens?" But they weren't taking care of the cats in the first place. So we kept the cats. Brownie and Stripes.
And let's talk more about Papachu, because he's been homeless for far longer than any other member of the family. Like I said earlier, he's arrested once every couple months, but he wasn't always like this. A couple of years back, he was far less unhinged, but still extremely eccentric. And I believe this was in part because he was properly medicated. Well, at least for a while. You see, an old clip of Toph resurfaced where she admits to something pretty dark, claiming that she thought she knew better than the doctors, cutting back the amount of medication that Papachu was given.
The VA won't help us. They over-medicated him. And we lowered the dosage to wait for the medication to come down. And because of that, he got really sick. And he started posting stuff he shouldn't have been posting online.
Tophia has of course denied tampering with Papachu's meds, but that audio clip is the source of people's discussion on the topic. Like I said, Papachu was not always in the streets proclaiming himself to be God with a piece of a brake tied around his neck. He was once a guy in his room, taping up video games to the walls, devising schemes under the guise of the Bank of Ozark, and also apparently contacting people online. Another old clip resurfaced, and this time it was of Papachu. A woman had been receiving messages from him and finally decided to go visit them while they were at their apartment. I have no idea why, but she brought 2 children with her. Absolutely terrible parent move, but it was still pretty crazy to get a glimpse into the past, when every member of Tophia's family still lived under one roof.
Anthony, come here, Anthony. I remember someone else telling her.
This is my daughter, and this is my niece.
Oh, you got 2 daughters?
No, my niece.
And it's like, can I accept any of this?
Is that your boyfriend?
Yes. Yes. And I believe that's your wife, I think?
Yeah.
See, and yeah, to me, I think that's kind of disrespectful on her part. But that's just what I want to do. I want to like return it. You know what I mean? And I don't want any copies of my boyfriend.
Guess what? You can read that one.
I mean, or I don't know. But my sister, you know, she's single. Just kidding. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah. But that's all I wanted to come over.
Right there.
Okay. All right. Well,
I know that some of you won't be able to tell, but there is a clear difference in that Papachu and the Papachu of today. Back then, he believed himself to be some sort of global banker. These days, he legitimately thinks he's God. But like I said, Tophiachu adamantly denies that she had anything to do with Papachu's medicine being lowered.
I don't know why people keep talking about this medication thing. We did not give my dad his medications. So someone had to come to the place to give him his shots, or he had to go to the VA. So if you want to continue to keep lying and saying I tampered with his medication, go ahead. And we lowered the dosage.
Despite all of this controversy that Tophia had found herself in, she had settled into a fairly consistent routine and new life. She was staying out of a homeless shelter and spending her days walking around town, either buying things or posting on social media. Recently, I'd been seeing a lot of discussion surrounding 90 days, which is apparently the amount of time that she is allowed to stay at a homeless shelter without seeking gainful employment. employment. People were unable to confirm if this was the case, and if I'm being honest, I was wrapping up research on this video when the news broke that she had been kicked out. Either that or she left of her own volition, which I really doubt. The purpose of the 90-day policy is to give people enough time to find a job and get enough pay slips to show an apartment complex or a rental agency. They usually need at least 3 months proof of employment. So for the past 3 months, she has been encouraged to get a job. And for the past 3 months, she has done nothing but post to social media. But now that she didn't have a place to stay, the tone of these posts completely shifted. I have an emergency. Can anyone help me out and send to my PayPal? I'd appreciate it. I know what the trolls are gonna say, but I need safe shelter for the night. And for those asking if I'm okay, no, I'm not okay. I keep being put in danger. I'll have to sleep outside in a tent. I don't not get help. I can't explain the whole situation because it's personal. I'd like to not give my personal business out here for my safety. This was basically confirmation that Tophia was unable to stay where she was for the past 3 months. I'm unsure what this means for Papachu. I know she's had to spend a lot of time in the hospital, but to my knowledge, she is not on the streets like Tophia. All of this was, of course, big news, but what would be revealed next is arguably bigger. Because when people found out what Tophia had been doing the day before she begged people for money because she claimed she'd be without shelter, she was spotted gambling at a local casino. Like I said, this photo was taken a day before those posts I just showed you, meaning she was using what little money she had left at the slot machine. But Tophia had a completely different story for why she was there, admitting that yes, it was her at the casino, but that she was gambling with money that a lady had given her. Y'all are so nosy. No, I didn't gamble my money. This girl gave me money to play at the casino. She said, "Do you want to go to the casino?" I said, "Sure, but I don't have any money." Because I wanted to get out. She pulled out money she had to play. I don't understand why y'all are everywhere stalking me to spread false rumors. I'm broke, yet y'all say I'm spending money. Make it make sense. This is just further proof that even when Toph is caught red-handed, in her own mind, she is the victim. The very next day, she was begging for money so she didn't have to sleep on the streets. Imagine how the person who actually donated to her GoFundMe feels. That's part of the reason why I titled this video Tophiachu Betrays Everyone. Her going to the casino while begging for money all under the guise of burying her brother is in my eyes, a betrayal to everyone who donated to her, many of which I'm sure have already turned. And let's talk about the GoFundMe, because on August 19th, she would claim that it would be refunded. GoFundMe is refunding everyone. I hope y'all are happy now my brother won't be buried. Now, I'll have to figure out how to raise the money. I never spent a cent of that money. All I wanted was for my brother to be buried. Crying emoji. Was it too hard to ask for compassion from others and to care, but that too much to ask from people? A service has already been held and he's been cremated, all at cost of the taxpayer. B, you were just at the casino days earlier gambling. And C, you have not attempted to find one job ever since all this happened. I have no idea how she has convinced herself that it is the public's fault that she doesn't have enough money to do the burial plans that her family wants for her brother. Just like the rest of her existence, that burden falls to you. It's my belief that Tophia thinks the world should bend to her will, and that other people are there merely to serve her. She sees herself as above employment, above criticism, but the truth is, Tophia is the only one to blame for her current situation. She has had years to contribute to the family. If Tophia had simply been working and not doing TikTok, they could have had a nice nest egg saved up and actually gotten that house she always talked about. But getting a job just isn't in her playbook, so it's the trolls' fault that they were homeless. Not that Brother Chu was the only one paying bills on what was likely one minimum wage job. It's the trolls' fault with what happened that night during the carjacking. No, that was just some crazy guy. Crime in Albuquerque is nuts. And then, of course, it's the troll's fault that the GoFundMe was refunded. When, like I said, so much shady shit was surrounding it that I'm almost positive it had to have violated something. The many, many excuses of Tophia Slidell do not change the very real situation that she finds herself in, and I get the feeling that these upcoming months will be some of the hardest that Tophia has ever faced.